No one was expecting this when Ian Clark is moved out of the head goalie coach role, and the Canucks are linked to the top goalie prospect in the world amid trade rumors. We'll get into this later on this episode. Before we start, I just want to give a huge shout out to the 4,233 of you guys that are subscribed. We're trying to reach 5,000 before the season starts. It's just under 50 days away. So if you're enjoying this Canucks content and you never want to miss another episode, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be all season long giving you updates from around the Canucks. Now, before we get into the first topic today, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video today, which is Fume. Are you trying to kick a bad habit to the curb? If so, you need to check out Fume. Have you heard that flavored air category is becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits led by today's sponsor of this video, Fume. Flavored air isn't like vaping. If vapor was compared to sticky sodas, Fume cores are closer to herbal teas. Fume has a lot of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint, orange vanilla. With flavored air, you can satisfy your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that utilizes no electronics, vapors, or combustion. Fume has been backed by doctors in the US, and the company continues to invest in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products. My favorite thing about Fume is the delicious flavor cores, especially the crisp mint, that you can use anywhere, at home, work, on the go, anywhere you want to use this you can. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. Slip it on to the mouthpiece for a warmer, soother feel. It's also chewable for those who love to fidget, and it's also reusable. Head to tryfume.com, that's tryfum.com, and use code DIGEST or the QR code on the screen right now to get your free Fume topper when you order your first journey pack today. Once again, we want to give a huge shout out to Fume for sponsoring this video, but with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Ian Clark steps down as goalie coach. Now, if you've been on social media at all, this came to a shock to a lot of Canucks fans and a lot of fans around the NHL when Ian Clark just got moved into a new position. We've seen the PR team for the Vancouver Canucks come out and say Vancouver Canucks general manager Patrik Allvin announced today that they made changes with the development coach and goaltending coach of the Abbotsford Canucks, Marco. He has been promoted to the goaltending coach of the Vancouver Canucks. Head goalie coach, director of goaltending, Ian Clark, was asked for a new position with the team and will now work as the goalie scout and goaltending development coach. Now, this came to a complete shock to a lot of people. This is a guy, Ian Clark, that has been in the league and around this league since the early 2000s, and I think it might have been exactly 2000. We've seen him work with big names like Thatcher Demko, Sergei Bobrovsky. He's worked with so many people all the way to Bobby Lou. This guy stepping down and moving into the head scouting role is a shock to everyone. And Griffin, what's your initial thoughts on this?
I think it comes as a great shock, especially when we didn't think matters could get worse after Thatcher Demko's injury update or speculation yesterday. And then this comes out just a few hours later or a day later where we have Clarkey moving into a new position with the team. Yes, he is getting up there in age, and yes, he did request that new position. So it's awesome that the Vancouver Canucks were able to accommodate him. But it does make you wonder how this goaltending core is going to take a bit of a hit without him at the helm of this goaltending unit, especially when Thatcher Demko might not be ready for the start of the season. And then you still have Artur Shilovs, who is still developing and still growing as his NHL experience gets more vast. So I think this is a big thing for the Canucks, and I don't know how it's going to be able to be as great of a season as far as goaltending is concerned, but it is going to be interesting to see what Marco does coming from Abbotsford. Maybe he does have a bit more of a rapport with Shilovs as well, where he does have a connection with him and they're able to work on that, especially when we go into a later topic today. But it is going to be interesting to see what this Vancouver Canucks goaltending team does look like without Clarkey at the helm for sure.
And we've seen Patrik Allvin have comments on this as well. And when he said, when Ian approached me to say he needed to make a change in the role to transition off ice, we quickly went to work to find a solution. With Clarkey wanting something different at the hockey club, we are extremely fortunate to have Marco in the system and ready to take on the responsibility of becoming our new goaltending coach in Vancouver. He continues on to say, unfortunately, Ian can no longer go to ice regularly due to the things that have made him successful, but his new role will fit with his expertise, and having Clarkey going out to find and develop talent will be a big asset to this organization. And this is a big thing too. You're having a guy working with all these big names, like I said, Roberto Luongo, Thatcher Demko, Sergei Bobrovsky before he became a Vezina candidate goalie. These guys worked under Clark. Having this guy out looking for talent is a huge step. And do you think he's going to kind of exceed what people are expecting him in this role, Griffin?
I think so. I think it's going to be a great look for the future for Vancouver's future goaltending prospects because he'll be scouting those. He knows what he's looking for. He's been around the league for so long. He knows what a great goalie looks like. So as far as having him in a scouting department, I think that's going to be great. It's just the in-season stuff that I'm a little worried about as far as a new coach coming in to take over this goaltending core. But having him in that scouting department is going to be great, and he's going to be a great asset to Allvin and potentially working even closer with Patrik Allvin than he was working with Rick Tocchet last season as the goaltending coach. So it might be even a position for him to be primed to take on an even bigger position with the organization going forward. But having him going into next draft, I think I'm very confident that they are going to draft a goalie next season, and especially with him at the head of the scouting department. I think they're going to draft a good one and potentially a very high prospect one.
And that's the biggest thing. We're seeing him move into this, and I just want to give a sincere thank you to Clark for what he's done for the Canucks organization, and seeing with Marco stepping up and taking over this new role. What were your guys' thoughts of this shocking news that kind of got dropped on everyone today on just a random Wednesday? Let us know down in the comments, but we'll hop straight into the second topic, which is Yaroslav Askarov would be perfect. Now, everyone's seen the reports coming out that Askarov did demand a trade out of Nashville. This is regarded as one of the top goalie prospects, if not the best goalie prospect in the entire NHL, and he's currently looking for a new home. And from a report from Noah Strang, he says the new Canucks goalie coach Marco was the director of goaltending for SKA St. Peterborough from 2014 to 2020. Askarov was the team's goalie from 2019 to 22, and he's now on the trade block. Could a reunion make sense if Demko's injury is worse than initially expected? Now, the first thing I want to say is acquiring a guy like Askarov would take a lot. This would take picks, this would take prospects, this would take a couple roster players. It wouldn't shock me if Nashville asked for a guy like Shelovs to start off the trade talks with this. But Griffin, in your opinion, could a guy like Askarov come in and just be the turning point for the goaltending in Vancouver?
I think he potentially could be. He is one of the top prospects, like you said. And when the news broke of this, everyone was scrambling to see what teams are going to be linked to this, especially when you have that connection with Marco, having been the goaltending coach with the SKA team. I think it bodes well as far as his chances of signing there. But like you said, it's going to take a lot to get him. As far as giving up Shelovs for him, because we've seen what Shelovs can do, especially not only in the regular season, but also at the postseason level. He's had that postseason experience where Askarov might not have that playing experience that Shelovs does, maybe just in terms of playing games, but in that big stage games, in those postseason games, Shelovs does have more experience with it. So I don't know if it's the right move as far as giving up Shelovs for him, especially when it's not a guarantee that he's going to start on this Vancouver roster right away. He could spend time in Abbotsford. He is still a prospect. So I don't know what the right move is to do as far as that goes, but I do know that I would much rather have Shelovs, given his proven experience, over a prospect who hasn't really proven as much.
And the biggest thing, like you said, he hasn't had a lot of games. Askarov has only played 3 NHL games. He was phenomenal this season for the Nashville Predators, having a .943 save percentage. You can see him back-to-back seasons in the Admirals system or in the Nashville system, in the AHL story. He had above a .900 save percentage as well. A former 11th overall pick in 2020. Askarov is still only 22 years old. Obviously, Nashville is in a win-now mode, but with Saros being signed to the extension, he's looking to be moved on. He's looking at getting a new chance. And the biggest thing, which kind of makes me feel like this might not happen, is the fact that we still have Thatcher Demko. We still have a guy like Shelovs. Having Askarov come over is almost the same situation where he's fighting for that backup spot. He's not getting the starting spot unless Allvin goes out and makes that major move on moving a guy like Thatcher Demko, which I do not think he will be doing. But I do think if the deal's there, if it's a deal they can make without really shaking up any of the roster, without moving out as much as maybe Nashville fans are expecting, I think a guy like Askarov could fit perfectly. This could be the goaltender of the future. This could be a guy that could come in and steal the show immediately. It's a top goalie prospect with not a lot of experience, but overall, getting a guy like Askarov isn't once in a lifetime, especially if you're trading for him and not having to use the top pick. What were your guys' thoughts on Askarov? What's your thoughts on potentially getting him with him being linked to a guy like Marco, who is now the head of goalies coach in the Vancouver system? Let us know down in the comments. But speaking on comments, we'll get in everyone's favorite topic, which is comment of the day. Comment today comes from Pinks, and he says, in Shelovs we trust, and we responded with Shelovs Vezina season incoming. I think Shelovs can have an excellent season. I think he's really got a lot to prove. I know he proved a lot in the postseason, but this guy in a 30-game sample size is going to be fun to watch. What were your guys' thoughts on just the whole goalie controversy right now in Vancouver? What's your thoughts on Ian Cole stepping down? Let us know down in the comments, and you could be featured on the next episode like Pinks did today as comment today. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and make sure to check out the pinned comment or the description for View'em. They sponsor the video. Once again, shout out to them. But I've been your host, Mark Pye, with my co-host Griffin, and take care.